Champ is iconic at Tech. The costume mascot is of national fame, and it's because of our guest today in Wes Gregory. Wes details the origins of the Crew of Champ mascot program while also sharing how he overcame a traumatic and near-death experience. Buckle up. The Tech Drive starts now. Voice of the Bulldogs with you, Kyle Schasberger, and welcome to another edition of Tech Drive. Coordinator of recreational activities, at least that's what I read online, but really is the coordinator of the mascot program at Louisiana Tech. An unintended humble flex, I think just the coordinator of recreational activities, but you're much more than that. He is Wes Gregory. Wes and his family more than a dozen years ago established a mascot program called the Crew of Champ, reviving the Champ costume mascot that has provided so many additional opportunities for students. We're in the presence of a true legend today, Wes.
I don't know about that now.
I believe so, though. Wes, thank you for making the time to tell your story here on Tech Drive.
Absolutely, man.
A move from McGee, Mississippi has turned into so much. More than a dozen years ago, 2012. You knew no one here. You had no real previous connection other than your wife growing up here for a time and then moving to McGee. It sparked this revival. How would you describe the past 13 years or so and the subsequent growth of the program?
Well, like I said, I came from McGee, Mississippi. The only tie to Louisiana Tech that I've ever had was my wife graduated here. And in 2012, she decided she was moving home. And it was with or without me, so here we are. At the time, I was working at Brendan Dodge and working with Rusty Wilfall. Really good friend of mine, and I started tailgating with him and kind of got into the athletics part of that through Rusty. So it was good because, I mean, of course I didn't want to leave home, but to get here and to start doing stuff with him and over here really helped.
And you had no choice.
Yeah, I mean, really.
I mean, your wife, Lainey, she wanted to come. You were following.
Right. Now I'd follow her to the end of the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. I feel like we have to address this off the top because just over a year ago, you literally overcame a near-death experience. I mean, a medical episode that put you and your life, your family in peril suddenly. What can you share about that moment in your life and how the first responders, the medical professionals, I know Northern Louisiana Medical Center was a big part of this, but really the community rallied behind you in keeping you alive.
Right, yeah. We had gotten back from vacation. It was August 14th. Been to the beach, and I was just taking a couple of days extra before I went back to work, and got short of breath that night, and just called my wife. It was the day before school started, so she was in the back with Leslie getting her ready for school, and I called her from the bedroom, told her I couldn't breathe. Couldn't catch my breath, told her she needed to call an ambulance. And she came back there, and man, they got there, and all I remember is grabbing that paramedic and telling him, and please don't let me die. That's the last thing I remember. And they got me in the ambulance, and Lainey was following, and when they pulled out on the highway there going towards the hospital, she saw him doing CPR. So I was without a pulse for probably 5-6 minutes in between the house and the hospital, and oxygen saturation was 50. So if you know anything about that, that was pretty dire. But man, those guys and the emergency room at the hospital here, they saved my life. I mean, they kept me alive. They knew whatever was wrong with me was a little bit more than they could handle. The next day, they transferred me to Christus in Shreveport. I was on a ventilator for 8 days and woke up, had a breathing tube, couldn't get the tube out. They thought it was my lungs. I have a lung condition that my x-ray is not the clearest. But they did a TEE, and that is a echocardiogram where they go down your throat and they can see your heart. And the cords that hold my mitral valve to my heart had broke. The doctor said at some point in my life, those cords, it's almost like a parachute, and it has the cords go and they hold it to your atrium. Well, mine had fused together at some point in my life and just popped like a rubber band. Yeah. So a couple of weeks after that, they replaced my mitral valve, and September 1st, I came home. I was in a hospital for almost a month. And I mean, I could sit here and tell you stories for hours of things that happened and people that were there and the community that we have here in Ruston, man. And, you know, it's a miracle I'm sitting here. And the doctor told my wife that after my surgery. He said he shouldn't be here. So I'm here for something. Yeah. So this point of my life is going to be spent figuring out why I'm still here, and I know it's got something to do with these kids. So, but yeah, man, it was scary. You know, it happened, and it's something I apologized for. I apologized to my wife for having to deal with that, and you know, she says, "Well, you went through it." I said, "Yeah, but I didn't know it. You know, you had to deal with all that." So, just got my voice back about 6 months ago. So I had some pretty good trauma in my throat from the intubations and stuff. But man, I'm 100%. I feel great.
That's incredible.
I'm excited. I really am. I'm thankful, and I give all glory to God for that, for sure.
Yeah, so powerful. Appreciate you sharing those details. I know at one point I'd read in the Lincoln Parish Journal, based on your account of this previously, that the doctor was trying to figure out what was wrong. They had you laying down, then they had to sit you up, right? And that helped make a big difference.
Right. Well, yeah, they were trying to take my intubation tube out with me laying flat on my back. And once they figured it was that heart valve, the doctor's like, man, no wonder he can't breathe. The valve's just laying there. So they sat me up, I think 60 degrees or whatever, and it was about probably 2.5 hours. And they pulled that tube out, man. And I just been going ever since. They told me, he said, we figured out what's wrong with you. Your mitral valve, you're going to have surgery. I'm like, all right, well, I'll be back in a few weeks to have that done. Y'all let me go. but they wouldn't let me go. So. And
it's a carbon fiber mitral valve where you can hear the clicking if you listen close enough?
Yeah, if it's quiet enough, you can hear it. It's just a tick. And once you hear it, you can always hear it.
Well, you said you had to apologize to your wife, Lainey, your daughters, Lily, Leslie. I know Lainey is thinking to herself, what are you apologizing for? Like you said, I mean, but you're just, this speaks to the kind of person you are, knowing the complications that your family had to deal with and navigating through all of this. Right. But they stuck by you through and through.
Yeah, and it was new for me. Like, I've always been a control guy. Like, I was a mechanic for 30 years. I'm a fixer. And I fix things. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's one thing that was like I had really no control in that. So she did everything, man. She came every day. It was right before school started back. That next morning, Leslie had to go to school. Lily started here at Tech. She was a freshman. And, it speaks, and we'll probably get into it more, but it speaks to the relationships that we've made with students here. We had 3 of our former champs. One is Rachel Vizza. She was our original. Caleb Wug and Noah Fanise. Rachel flew from Atlanta, and Noah drove from Chicago. Caleb lives here, and they all came to see me, and they moved Lily into her apartment. They helped get all that stuff done, and that just really does speak to the people that come through here that we see, coming through this program that we have. They're all like our family.
Yeah, so much to be thankful for. Another what will be your second holiday season since the surgery, and you say you're 100%. That's great to hear. Just now getting your voice back in the last half a year. It took 6 months or more, on top of that. And you do have a purpose. You are still trying to figure that out, but you're here for the students. You know that, but you're here for your family. the university, the community, and all of that was on display during the most traumatic thing anybody can experience. And you and your family continue to be the backbone of this mascot program now that has become one of the best in the country, truly top tier when you consider it's gone from one mascot in Rachel, right, to double-digit individuals. Read also, in the Lincoln Parish Journal, more than 500 appearances a year are made in northern Louisiana. Do you have exact figures on any of that?
No, we don't. That was our first year. We kept a tally of it our first year with Rachel with one mascot, and we did right close to 500 appearances from a year to year. So from May to May is our year. We don't have seasons. I mean, our season is year round. We do stuff. School's out, doesn't matter. And that was Laney and I taking off from our work, going with Champ to those appearances. So, we invested a lot in it, but man, the reward it's great. It really is.
Let's dive into the inspiration now and what the crew of Champ is. Your wife, Laney, again, grew up here, moved to Mississippi, came back for her family, or to be closer to where she had grown up after leaving in high school to go to McGee. You returned with your daughters, with your wife, and it all started with that desire to tailgate, like you said, with Rusty Wilfong. Were you a big college football fan? Was that something that you had desired? Because it was then, in coming to tailgate and being part of Louisiana Tech athletics events, starting with football, that really you probably took notice of the Champ mascot. And I know it grew from there with your daughter, but was that something you yearned for, to experience college football, or it was just something to do?
Yeah, no, I love college football. Of course, growing up in Mississippi, I mean, I was a Mississippi State fan, and all my family graduated from Southern Miss, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, it gave me something to do while I was here because, like I said, I lived in Mississippi my whole life, so to find that, I mean, that just really gave me something to do extra when we moved.
Now it's not like Champ didn't exist. You got eyes put on him, the costume bulldog, who very iconic already. People recognize anywhere you go, any athletic event.
Right.
A costume mascot, it stands out. Very much a fixture at events. That particular person inside the costume at the time was Rachel, and she. It appeared like maybe she took an affinity to at least always coming by. It was memorable, right, for you and your daughter.
Right, absolutely. So Leslie, from the time we brought her here, 1 year old, I mean, she loved Champ. But like the way it actually started, we would go to basketball games, and Champ would come by and sit with her, like literally sit down beside her and spend 5 minutes with her every single basketball game. And I took an interest in that, and a lot of it was, hey, I want to know who's in there. It's just like everybody else. I want to know who's in there. Well, it cost me a pretty good bit to figure out who was in there. But I noticed, the suit was in pretty bad shape. The costume was not good. You could see fingers through the hands, and me and Laney went home after one of the basketball games, and I said, let's see what it would take to donate a suit to the university. I want to do that. I mean, I really did at the time. Wasn't looking for nothing except basically to figure out who was in there. But I told Champ or Rachel one night, I said, hey, who do I need to speak to about donating a suit? Well, she got all excited, and we met her after the ball game, and she got us with Sam Speed, and we went through all the stuff we needed to, got the suit, got it donated, and I got a call from Sam. He wanted to have a meeting with Laney and I, and he said, how do you feel about starting a mascot program? I'm like, dude, I'm a mechanic. Like, I'm from Mississippi. I have no idea what to do with the mascot program. And, Laney and I went home and talked about it, and the opportunities for me to be around the college athletics. And then Laney and I talked about how we could, impact students with it and use it to help the students. So we did, and man, ever since it's just got bigger and bigger. So we're very proud of what we've done, and we have meetings weekly. We have meetings at our house, and we just try to give those students a home away from home. They're from all over, and we cook for them. If they need a place to study, they can come study. If they need a place to wash their clothes, they're really like our family. So, but yeah, that's where it all started, man. It was Leslie. That's why we started that Leslie Loves Champ Scholarship Fund.
That's so cool that you even open your own home, to these students to be able to come by and, to be able to experience, the love and care beyond just the mascot program, but to help make them feel even more at home, beyond what a university experience might give. And I'm curious with Rachel, though, the costume was worn, and this is part of the impetus, right, of it. You see how it's a worn down costume. The threads aren't in best condition. She already landed with you so favorably, not knowing who she was, or he at the time, of who's inside this costume. So you had that curiosity as well driving it, but you had these memorable interactions. When she came out to speak with you more in detail, this was when she revealed herself for the first time and got out of the costume?
Yeah,
when did that happen?
It was after a basketball game.
Okay.
And we just silently met her down in the tunnel.
Incognito.
Yep. Had no idea who it was. Not a clue. And she came out, and I mean, instantly, she still loves Louisiana Tech. And man, after we met her, Lily and Leslie, it was like a big sister for them. They were just, it was really, really cool. And, we still have contact with all those.
Yeah. The scholarship program you mentioned, Leslie Loves Champ Scholarship, was really that first kind of official step too, outside of the donation and buying a costume, to springboard you into the crew of Champ and what this program has become. You name drop Sam Speed. So Dean of Student Engagement and Undergrad Recruitment at the time. I'm seeing he's the assistant. I haven't met Sam yet, but the assistant VP currently here at Tech, so instrumental.
Absolutely. Sam has been really understanding and really accommodating with us. One, and he'll tell you this, he's very glad we took that off his plate.
Yeah.
But two, it's been the freedom to build this program the way we see, and we didn't just pull it off the top of our head. I mean, we looked at bigger schools and mascot programs across the country and try to emulate some of the things they do. But one thing that is unique that we've noticed when we go to camps or competitions, there are not many, if any more than Champ, that have their own program. They're usually all grouped in with cheer, and it's like, hey, here's a costume, go do whatever you do. So it's pretty big. I mean, and Sam letting us, within his guidance, create it the way we wanted to was just awesome.
That seems like a pretty big delineation, if you will, of how other programs or other universities might conduct themselves. And it makes sense. You're doing your homework, you're taking what you like from other schools and applying it into your own vision, because that's what you have. That's what you are, And I understand there's humility behind this, but like you're a true visionary in terms of bringing this all together, you and your family. But to take notes on what other schools are doing, and then make this something more than just a cheer type function under the cheer umbrella. Like this is so much more. This represents, sure, a university and a community, but also like a way of life.
Well, yeah, and I always tell people that you wouldn't believe the mascots. It is a different life. I mean, there's a mascot nationwide Group B and it's got thousands of, and they all communicate with each other. It's amazing.
GroupMe, like a Slack
Yeah,
channel,
yeah,
GroupMe.
yeah.
I know GroupMe. I'm familiar, but
Absolutely.
those who might not know, that's just,
Yeah.
it's like a massive text thread,
Right.
but it's organized. It's a separate app. So people, it's a think tank
That's
for
right.
others.
And it's nationwide. And when we're gonna be somewhere where the mascots are, we'll reach out to them and we'll coordinate little skits, or hey, do y'all want to do this, or can we do this? And it's a lot of the feedback we got when we first started was, oh, mascots always fight each other, and that was true back in the 80s, I guess. But now, I mean, it's pretty much you go to camps with other mascots, and they bond and do stuff, and it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of camaraderie than what it used to be.
The mascots fighting just kind of conjures up old feelings. I wasn't expecting this to go that way, but this interview to take this sort of turn. But like even the college football video game back in the day before it's come back, you used to have the mascot option where you can choose the mascots all on the field. 11 on 11, program versus program, whatever it would be.
Right.
Bunch of Bulldogs out there, a bunch of Blue Devils, whatever it may be. I think I even saw a clip this past weekend or recently, I forget exactly. Cam Newton was on the field doing something with like Stephen A. Smith of ESPN, and he got slapped. I don't know if that was real. I have no idea. You might know more than if that was staged.
I don't know. That one I don't know. That one looked pretty serious. So.
Yeah, it did.
But that's what I mean. That's what a mascot does.
It's fun.
Like, yes, they're gonna aggravate and they're gonna mess with you, and we try to keep everything lighthearted because I don't want situations like that. But that's what a mascot does. I mean, there's a point at where you say, okay, you're being an annoying mascot. You need to stop. So, I mean, it's all in how the people take it. But I will tell you this, being with Champ and following Champ around, you see grown people act like kids. I mean, everybody loves it, except for little bitty kids that are terrified, and then you either love him or you hate him. But grown people love to get their picture made with Champ. I mean, he's a celebrity,
Yeah. You can find some great Champ-related items, I know, at Patton's downtown. There's also Patton's Western Wear, dress to impress. Deck yourself and the fam out with everything you need to rep tech. Hundreds of uniquely designed, officially licensed Bulldogs and Lady Texters apparel options at Patton's downtown in Ruston. Styles brands for your everyday life, the job, game days, any occasion, including the outdoorsman in you. You can find that at Patton's Western Wear here in Ruston. You can find it all when you shop locally at Patton's, a North Louisiana tradition since 2007. What makes a great Champ? When you are, I don't even know if you're necessarily recruiting. What is that process like? I would think you advertise when necessary, but I would also expect that a lot of kids want to be a part of this.
At a small school, you would be surprised. We have a really low turnout when we have tryouts. We really like to catch people as freshmen or sophomores, so we have them for their whole college career. Some of them last longer. Some of them will get a master's, and as long as they're taking the hours, they can still be champ. But we do have tryouts. Here it's a little more difficult because of the low number of tryouts. But I mean, we like to keep it in the same height range, 5'8" or taller, similar builds. You can't really, you have to stay within that to keep the character the way it is. Right. So, we have guys and girls, both have been champ. And some people that you would see outside the suit, you'd be like, there's no way you'd be a good champ. And man, when they put that on, I would have loved to have done it, because I mean, you're somebody else and you can pretty much do what you want to do, but it's there's no real rhyme or reason to how we pick people. It's just how they look in there when they get in that suit and start to do the champ walk and his mannerisms and stuff.
You become a different person when you put on that costume.
That's correct.
It's like Superman, like a superhero.
Right. That's right.
How often do you suit up, or have you suited up over the years?
I have.
Okay. I would expect you to. I mean, it would make no sense for the man behind the crew of Champ.
It is strictly, it was necessity. It was when we had one person. And I don't know if I don't think I've ever told this story on film. But
is the statute of limitations passed where we can?
Well, yeah.
All right. Be selective if you need
to. The one in particular I remember, Rachel was Miss Louisiana Tech in, golly, maybe 2016. And she had to take pictures at Dr. Geis's house and as Miss Tech. And they wanted Champ there. So I went to Dr. Geis's house as Champ and took pictures with Miss Louisiana Tech. So
that's
there's
incredible.
A little tidbit awesome. For you.
I got a recent story from somebody. I was out at Squire Creek. I think it was Matt Shirley. You know Matt Shirley? Yep. He proposed to his wife while in the Champ costume.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, see, that was before my time. That wasn't happening again.
It was, that was a true love story. Well, you're opening up Pandora's box.
Absolutely.
In terms of precedence.
I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, way to be, Matt. And sorry, I just put that out there.
Appreciate
it's not happening. Okay, let's squash it. Let's squash it right now. But you say when they put on the costume, and we both agree. I feel like you put on that costume, you become somebody else, and you see them outside the costume, and you question. You're like, this is something you do now? I would think there's a certain level of secrecy beyond that, though, too. Has everyone understood that level of incognito confidentiality, or have there been problems?
No, I mean, of course there have been a few that were like, hey, you gotta stop telling people. I mean, you can't do that. And we do it, one, for the anonymity of it, but two, you don't know who's in there. So if it's one of your buddies that's Champ and you're roughhousing with him and it's actually not him and it's a girl, then, there's a problem. So we just keep it, keep it under wraps until they graduate. And then when they graduate, they can tell. We had actually, in years past, if you're a 4-year Champ or more, you get an assigned jersey. Framed jersey. So we had presented those at games and such, and then COVID happened, and we kind of got away from it, which we're going to try to get back to that sometime in the near future to do their presentation. So they need recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, they've spent time there, and you can't get it like any other athlete gets recognized all the time. I mean, whether you just see them but you don't know these people.
No, that's a good way to incentivize it. What has become such an exclusive club, and certainly nationally recognized. The Crew of Champ program, what it has become, and you've done so many great things. You and your family, for this program, and others in community. Connected to the university, whether it's providing donations, fundraisers, and it's helped to truly put the program on a national map, the generosity of so many others who have helped to turn this into what it has become.
Right. And, we're pretty much self-funded. We do, just like everybody else, go out in the community and beg businesses for money and get sponsorships. We do fundraisers, donations. That's how we function. That money goes to meals. It goes to suit repair. I mean, those suits are $2,700 a piece. We actually, all the stuff stays at our house. It's here in Ruston, and we wash at our house. We wash the suits. Heads and stuff have to go back to Alinco. They're who our costume's made from. It costs $450 to have a head cleaned, and it's $150 shipping. So,
how often does that happen? How many costumes?
It needs to happen yearly.
Okay.
But it doesn't, because we don't really. Right. We're working towards getting that funding. But I mean, it's 6 costumes. We have 6 costumes, so it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
But again, it goes to that. It goes to buying our crew gear. I mean, if you see Champ and you see his handlers with him, they're going to have on a polo. They're going to have on Adidas shoes, and that's where that money goes to. I mean, again, that's one of the perks that we try to say, hey, here, thanks for what you do. But it's hard to go out and ask for money.
Sure.
But they do it. We're in the process of trying to go to nationals. So, yeah.
Well, it's all part of the branding too, to be able to, the handlers look alike. You're in line with the Adidas contract, certainly that the university has. And that's really cool. And given in a football game, you're just thinking about when the weather is the most hot, throughout the year, early in the fall. For 4 quarters, a 3.5 hour, the day starts much earlier than that, for a 3.5 hour football game, right? When does it start? When does the day start for Champ ahead of a home football game? And how many bodies, individuals, might we have? And it could vary.
So every game, if it's a 6:30 game, their day starts at 2:30. They'll come to the house, pack all their boxes, and we will run 6 costumes. We'll run 6 suits that day.
Wow.
So we will have between 8 and 11 people working a football game.
Wow.
Handlers, especially when it's hot.
Yeah.
So the day starts at 2, probably ends about 12-ish, 12:30-ish, because after we get done, all the fun begins, and cleaning and washing and that stuff. So
yeah, I'm sure it's smelly.
Yeah, it can be that way, man. Yeah.
I wore a mascot costume while in high school, Marian Catholic, south side of Chicago. So I know the drive to Chicago well. You mentioned that when you had your medical emergency a year ago. One of your friends, one of the people closely connected here and to the program, came down. But it was only 1 quarter. We had like 4 rotating people at a state tournament in, I think it was Peoria or Bloomington. And man, for that 1 quarter of basketball, we're talking 8 to 10 minutes, maybe 25 minutes real time. I don't know. I mean, that was a sauna. Yeah. And that's indoors, in a basketball arena. It's not even outside.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And that's another thing, not just everybody can do it. I mean, you got to be you don't have to be in a Tier 1 athlete, but you got to be able to be in hot situations for a while. Huh.
From a lifelong fixer and mechanic. Right. I know you're now at Bayou Kubota, and to know that you, not that it necessarily needed fixing, because I think nobody is built the way you are, and certainly your family, to acknowledge, hey, there's a real need here. Like, we want to do something kind for the university, but for it to turn out, the way that it has, and for you to put a fix and your own spin on the crew of Champ and this program, the way it has become. I mean, it's truly incredible. I know so many people at this university and here in Ruston and beyond, all across northern Louisiana, mascot circles, all corners of the country. They appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, man, it's a labor of love. It really is. Yeah. I enjoy it. I don't know however long they'll let me do it. I guess I'll be here. I have to at least wait till Leslie gets in college. So that's a while.
Yeah. And if people want to book an appearance, they can go online.
Yeah, they can go.
Right?
They can go through the university website, or Champ actually has his own website.
Crewofchamp.com.
That's correct.
Crewofchamp.com.
Yep.
That's great. Wes Gregory, this has been awesome. I appreciate you so much coming on Tech Drive. Is there anything else we don't know that we should know about you
Probably
in this
not.
program?
I mean, we could sit around and talk later, but you know.
Well, this has been illuminating. I know folks really appreciate the story, peeling back the curtain, the onion layer. So we've got a football. We've got TBD on when exactly this conversation is dropping in November. However, there is a football game on November 22nd, which will be the final home contest. So I know we'll have this out before then. Happy holidays to you and your family, and we'll see you again soon on campus.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's Wes Gregory behind the Crew of Champ program. Appreciate all of you tuning in on Tech Drive here today, whether you're watching on the La Tech Athletics page, on YouTube or Spotify, Apple, wherever it is you get your podcast. For Jack, Carson, GB, Kyle Cavanaugh, I'm the voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schatzberger. Wes Gregory, what was it, marketing coordinator? We'll say coordinator of the mascot program at Louisiana Tech University. He's a fine man. Thank you all for consuming the Tech Drive.